All right.
Okay, hello.
Hi, everybody. Wow, this is so cool. Here we are. Summer and I have the good fortune to be in your presence. Other days, the torch is gone, but this is the first time people are actually going to see the torch pass. People have been wondering. They want to see that happen. And starting with Molly, who's at the Parliament of World Religions. And Molly, I wanted you to say a little bit about yourself and the work of the Parliament, what it's been like having the torch, and then you'll get to pass it to Isabel on behalf of the United Religions Initiative. So go ahead, Molly. Thank you for being here.
Well, you're welcome, and what a joy and an honor and a thrill it's been to be working with the Compassion Games now for 3 years. I have been at the Parliament just a little longer, going on 4 years. The Parliament of the World's Religions is the world's oldest and largest convening organization for the global interfaith movement, which has a really interesting history tracing back to the 1893 World's Fair, when a World Congress of Religions was held, bringing traditions from East and West together for the very first time to talk about their common brotherhood and sisterhood and commitments to finding common ground and seeing the best in one another. It's the first place that the word interfaith was coined, and it left a great legacy here in Chicago, where our organization is based. So in effort to celebrate the 100-year centenary of that event, some really bold and courageous and compassionate folks who were big around interreligious dialogue in its beginnings in the 1980s thought, here in Chicago, why not celebrate the 100-year anniversary by holding another World Parliament of Religions. So that took place in 1993, and we had champions of global compassion here united in Chicago, with sort of a keynote from the Dalai Lama, bringing tens of thousands of people into the sphere of the global interfaith movement. And so ever since, our organization convenes around the world. We've met in Cape Town, South Africa, Barcelona, Melbourne, Australia, and most recently back in the United States, in Salt Lake City last year, where we had the pleasure of hosting the Compassion Games to pass the torch, and actually devoted a whole track of programming to the compassion movement. So I would say compassion is at the center of what we do. Over the last day, I thought, what unique expression of compassion could the interfaith movement bring to the Compassion Games? So I looked for some of our champions and heroes that we've worked with that cultivate harmony across divides and across conflict. So we've talked to one of our heroes, Dr. Zarni in Burma, who has a very difficult job as a human rights activist, but he is sometimes standing loud and proud and alone and talking around the world about a persecuted Muslim minority in that country. And we've spoken to our friends Pardeep and Arno, who organize interfaith nonviolence trainings for youth in the Milwaukee area, but now around the world. And there are Faiths Against Hate award winners from last year and close friends of the Parliament who endured a terrible hate crime. It was at the time in 2012 the worst race-based hate crime against the Sikh community at that time. Unfortunately, we've seen worse, but they've been organizing and bringing the best of interfaith to the practices that they do at Serve to Unite. And some of our ambassadors have been participating, as well as some of our emerging leaders who have started their own parliament in Australia, which is amazing. So it's really a movement that manifests in many different ways. Some people organize around service, some people organize around dialogue, and now it's even entering the sphere of education and academia. So it really brings out the best of our mission for a more peaceful, just, and sustainable world. And we could not do that without our partners at the grassroots level globally, which is there at URI. So we're very, very pleased to be uniting with them in this effort.
I know, it's such a beautiful example of what we're talking about, right? Where we're coming together in unprecedented unified action. Yes, the future and the past are united, and here we go forward together.
Absolutely.
All right. So are you prepared to pass the torch to Isabel?
I am absolutely thrilled to pass the torch, and I really look forward to the surprises that come across, and we'll be paying attention on Facebook and Twitter and liking and sharing. I don't have an actual flame, but I do have a heart symbol, and I understand Isabel, although she is in California to the west that she's appearing on the screen to the below me. So I'm just going to pass it down if you want to try and catch this little wavelength of love.
Got it.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you so much. And we have officially a torch ourselves passed on from our friends at the Parliament. Thank you so much, Molly, for passing this along to us. We're excited. Champions of compassion alongside our friends at the Parliament of the World's Religions. We're greatly appreciative of this opportunity to bear the torch of Compassion Games International during this compassion relay. URI is a global grassroots network of interfaith groups working in 96 countries around the world. Our purpose is to work to promote enduring daily interfaith cooperation, to end religiously motivated violence, and to create cultures of peace, justice, and healing for the earth and all human beings. Our member groups are all champions of compassion. So this is a perfect initiative to engage in. Our members, called Cooperation Circles, achieve tangible social change and bring peace to their communities. So as a global network, we engage people of diverse traditions, cultures, and backgrounds in compassionate action and meaningful cooperation to achieve global unity. So this is, again, in perfect alignment of what the Compassion Game stands for and what the other champions of these games stands for. So when these 24 hours that we have our own version of the Compassion Games torch, we are affirming our commitment to global unity, and we're celebrating the work that's being undertaken by our cooperation circles around the world. And we invite people to look at the Compassion Games map that is on the website, this beautiful, beautiful map that is being stewarded by John and Summer. And you'll see at least 20 examples of compassionate action that our groups are engaging in right now. So from groups in Pakistan that are holding gatherings to convene and discuss what peace could mean in their communities amongst children, youth, and women, along with political leaders, to a group in California, in a small little town in California, in Contra Costa County, who are inviting Buddhists, Sikhs, Jews, Christians, and Muslims to engage in compassionate action and dialogue with each other, to envision a more compassionate and more globally united world. It's really wonderful to be part of this initiative.
So beautifully said, Isabel. My gosh, we are so fortunate that we are all doing what we can with what we've got at this time. And you know, when we talk about global unity, we define it as we're saying a world of people with different backgrounds, nationalities, cultures, belief systems, who commit to live and play and learn and work well together. And we're curious to hear from your team how you see global unity and what is missing at this moment now in order to bring global unity about.
I can do that. Dom Jellin here. I think one of the things that we talk about the most at URI is the need for a spirit of cooperation, especially with what we're doing. I think as we work to create a global culture of peace, we have to do so with the understanding that no one person or no one group of people has, the big answer. Instead, when we work cooperatively and respectfully, we can see a scenario where maybe each of us has a different piece of the puzzle. And at the end of the day, you have these pockets of peace that are growing around the world, and it ends up creating a sort of mosaic, which is actually what our logo looks a lot like. And that's why we call our folks on the ground cooperation circles. It's about people coming together to do the most good.
Beautifully said. Exactly. I'm curious to hear then, how does compassion unite, and what role compassion plays in compassion for others, compassion for the earth, as well as compassion for ourselves?
Well, actually, I think that with compassion, stems from empathy, and that's something that URI groups do very well. That something that I see in the events that people have already submitted on the website and that are populating the map, you start seeing, all of these groups coming and sharing each other's rituals, singing songs together, eating each other's food. Empathy is so important. It actually reminds me of this story that I just heard on the radio about how there was a vet who knew about animals from the outside but not from the inside, and he wanted to know what it was really like to be an animal, and so he decided to live as a badger, and he lived on his hands and knees, and he blindfolded himself so his nose would be better, and he did this for months. And I remember listening to this crazy story about this man who became a badger to know what it was like to live as a badger. And I remember thinking, wouldn't the world be an amazing place if we could do that with each other? And I think, that's a lot what these groups are doing as they're submitting all of these events all over the world, is we're all taking turns living as each other. We're sharing our rituals, our food, our songs, our religions, our customs, and we're really gaining empathy for each other. And that's how we can better take care of each other and the world, is by living in each other's shoes and realizing what it is. We don't have to have the same life and the same lifestyle. We just have to have enough empathy to have compassion.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. So these thumbs up from Molly too. I saw that. So tell us more about this cooperation circles, how the work of URI is contributing, and how one could get involved and be a part of a cooperation circle. We want anyone who's watching this to get informed and know where to go to get engaged.
I love that question, John. So I take it, and I also take Molly's heart, and I hope that I can take this heart to the 804 cooperation circles doing amazing group work around the world. And I love that the mission, I got every unleash courage and values, because how much it is that values sustain the work that we are doing around the world. In URI, the cooperation circles just choose what they want to do together. It has to do with the reality of their community. It has to do with the needs of their community. It is not, there's nothing that URI says, you are going to do this. We want you to do that. We have shared values. We have shared preamble, purpose, and principles. And among them, one says, kind of gives the freedom to the cooperation circles to address or to do what they feel is compassionate in their own place. This principle, which I love, it's one I treasure as director of Cooperation Circle Support. And it says, we have the right to organize in any manner, at any scale, in any area, and around any issue or activity which is relevant and consistent to the preamble, purpose, and principles. So with this principle, what I feel, and I think all cooperation circles around the world feel committed to, is just to think together what is the pain, the need of the community, and that they decide to get together to address that. So I think what URI is helping to happen is not only addressing a conflict drive, poverty, HIV, blood need, human rights, women empowerment, capacity building for youth or education for children. But what they are doing also is uniting with the values they have from their own traditions, but getting them together as a pool of compassion, as a pool of values, as a pool of beauty in the heart, and put that in service to a community. Just so the global unity I see in the cooperation circles is the beauty of the best in each person that gathers in a cooperation circle in the service to the community. And even though we are posting in Compassion Games and reporting the things that are happening for International Day of Peace, this is daily and enduring, as dear Isabel read from our purpose, because every day people are getting together, people of the grassroots are getting together to do something that is desperately needed so that the community lives in unity, so that the community lives in well-being, so that the community improves their way of life. So I think that there's kind of a perfect matching between compassion games, between the parliaments of the world's religions and URI, and many others interfaith efforts that we need to get together for the good. Just violence takes a lot of time, takes a lot of media, takes a lot of effort. Let us, all those that are doing good things, get together hand in hand, torch from one place to the other, so the goodness is seen and the love is stronger and better disseminated.
I just have a question for you too, especially in light of the power of love and compassion, which I feel like I'm in community here with everyone that probably would agree that love is more powerful than fear and violence. How often do these circles get together to keep the unity alive and the processing, and how often do these circles get together? And my other piece is, if I wanted to be in a circle on Whidbey Island, where I live near Seattle, what would be my first steps to take to be in a circle?
Great, Summer, your question. A lot of what we are doing is in our web pages, www.uri.org. And when a group of people, so there's a basic requirement, 7 people, of at least 7 people of at least 3 different religions, spiritual expressions, or indigenous traditions that get together with a common purpose and to have a common activity for the well-being of the community. So that is as simple as that.
Okay.
So it's the love that you are passing through all the world with the compassion games. It's the compassion that moves people to be together. And sometimes these people are kind of improbable or impossible pairs or impossible groups that you wouldn't say, I don't know, here I live in Argentina. Sometimes it's kind of rare that people of indigenous traditions get together with Catholics and with Jews and Muslims to do something together. But yesterday we were celebrating International Day of Peace together, and this colorful array of people of different traditions talking together about the thirst of peace, how much we need peace. So there's the beauty. I'm a mother of 5. I love that they are very different from each other. So it has to do with getting people that are different to work together. And I think that is the beauty too.
So that's really key piece, is finding people that are different. And yeah, thank you.
Awesome. And Summer, just to add to what Maria said, because each group is motivated by what they define as a need that needs to be addressed in their community, they can meet as frequent as every day. We, as part of the URI team, are part of a cooperation circle ourselves, and we work towards furthering that goal every day. Some other cooperation circles meet once a month whenever they can. So it's really directed by the community groups on the ground working around these issues to determine the frequency and the course of action that they take to address that need.
Yeah. Great. It's authentic power, like Gary Zukov was talking about. It really is empowerment. Fabulous. Well, this has been amazing. Molly, you have done such a great job with the Parliament in supporting the Compassion Movement, and for you to make time today with your busy schedule, make sure this handoff, this heart off.
I also just want to add too that with this relay going on, another way for other people that are listening and going to be watching this video, that there are ways that players and participants all over the world can also as a way
Yes.
to play, support, and celebrate URI, and celebrate the Parliament for World's Religions, is we have images that are in these daily missions that are emailed out to all the agents of compassion that we're putting on our Facebook page and on our Twitter page, and that is Facebook and Twitter handle Compassion Games. Is there's an image that says Compassion Relay and Parliament for World's Religion and URI, and asking questions like, what is it that you appreciate about this organization, and share this image out to. So that is also a ripple effect that all of you can also, as if you're the bearer of the torch or also the one that passed the torch, to continue to celebrate and keep that alive on the social media streams. That just wanted to add that piece there too, and you'll see the journey.
And I love to repost in United Religion's Facebook page also the map that you have with a relay. So it's the Parliament symbol and then the URI symbol, and then the ones that are going to receive, because this map shows something that in URI we value a lot in this. All interfaith efforts should be together trying to make the change.
Yes.
And as our dear Dom was saying, we are not going to do an impact if we try to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What does Stevie Wonder say, John?
I love Stevie Wonder. He says, teamwork makes the dream work. I know. We are so blessed. Wow. This has been...
Well, thank you so much, John and Summer, and everyone at the Compassion Games for providing us this platform to celebrate compassionate action, for naming all of us, folks at the Parliament, folks at URI, and subsequent groups as champions of compassion. And as a challenge to the rest, game on, everyone.
Oh, awesome.
Game on.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
All